Ooh, let's go. Admit on. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, good
Good
evening.
Hi, hello everybody.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hey, everyone. If I, well, let me just say this. We about to get started. It's 6 o'clock on the dot. People are being admitted. So if you see like I'm a little off-putting, it's not because I'm a very vibrant person. But I just want to make sure I get everybody in the room. And I want to say thank you. Like I'm over here. Okay, let me calm down. Let me breathe. I think I have adult ADHD at this point. Iris, help me out. If I'm wrong, I'm
Me
wrong,
too.
but I be everywhere. But I think what happens when I'm passionate about something and know other people believe in me enough to come alongside and take this walk with me, or this run, or this jog, or this crawl, whatever we got to do is gonna get done. So what I want to do quickly as we get started, I want everybody to be able to introduce themselves as I see you on the screen, or better yet, no, because this is not about Dr. Jones. This is us as a collective whole. I'm gonna introduce myself, then I'm gonna pass it to someone, and then they pass it to someone else. And that's the way we're gonna roll. With that being said, I'm admitting some more people in the room. Oh, thank y'all. I'm multitasking. Mr. Jones is on the other side talking about when we gonna eat. I'm like, I just fed you. But anyway, needless to say, my name is Dr. Shaniqua Jones. I am the regional director of Chicago Integrated Health. I'm also the founder and CEO of Purple Path, which is my organization that focuses and hones in on restorative justice and restorative practices. And the beauty of it all is that I get an opportunity to do what I love to do in every capacity in which I serve that aligns with the way God wants me to move. And I'm glad that I have my bestie Iris here, who is the founder and CEO, the president, all the things of Chicago Integrated Health, Project Thrive, Positive Impact Health Collective, and me being able to come on board with her and marry restorative justice and mental health. So, with that being said, the reason why we are here together, not gonna lie to y'all. I went to Chat GPT, was like, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is what's happening in this world. What's the name? What we gonna call ourselves? And here we are as the Village Response Network. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it to Isaiah Rice. And just for those who just joined us, as I call on someone, Isaiah will call on someone else, and that person will call on someone. I think y'all get the drift. I'm glad that y'all here, and I love y'all. Isaiah, the floor is yours.
All right, hey everybody. I'm really happy to be here. My name is Isaiah Rice. I'm a clinical psychology doctoral student here in Chicago. Um, and I've kind of found myself on this newsletter. I heard about this and I just thought it was sound really cool. It sounded like the kind of work I wanted to do. And so I was just hoping I could find a way to be a part of it and meet more like-minded people like yourself, Dr. Jones. So I'm just happy to be here. Dr. Tiffany, if you want to go.
Sure. I am Dr. Tiffany Robertson. I have multiple hats, like I'm sure we all do. I signed up to be a part of this because of my role with Angels Helping Hands, which is a mentorship program based out in the South suburban area of Chicago. Professionally, I am the director of academic services at Governor State University's College of Business. I have over 20 years of higher ed experience, mentorship, leadership. I'm really focused on, youth succeeding, providing resources for them to succeed just in life, not just in school, but in life in general. So I'm just happy to be here. I will pass it to Adina.
Thank you, Dr. Tiffany. My name is Adina McCullough. I work in the recreation space. I have worked at recreation and parks for about almost 20 years now. So I started after school program specifically for teenagers. I have many hats as well, but I think that is the gist of it for me. I don't need to go into it too far. So I'm going to pass it to Miss Iris.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Iris Nicole Patterson. I'm the founder and CEO of Chicago Integrated Health, We are a lifestyle intervention practice where we blend the medicines of mental health counseling, nutrition counseling, massage therapy, personal training, and yoga to fight against anxiety, stress, and lifestyle diseases. We serve families where we teach children how to regulate their emotions and also advocate for themselves, but also teach the parents how to hold space and listen to their children. I'm sorry, I clicked off without passing the mic. Okay, I'm gonna pass it to Nikki Williams Rucker.
Hey y'all, my name is Nikki. I am the CEO and founder of Black Momish and the Black Momish Foundation. We're an organization that focuses on creating a safe space, community, and access to resources to Black moms. Who has not gone yet? Dr. J?
Good evening, everybody. My
Not
name
gonna.
is
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Dr. Edwards, it's you. When she said
oh,
Dr. J, my bad.
oh, okay. My name is Dr. Janetta Edwards. I'm called, people call me Dr. J. I am the owner and founder of Mother's Love Community Organization. It's a nonprofit organization that provides services to moms, single moms, young moms, teenage moms. Being a young mom, it was crucial that God gave me something to use, a vehicle to use, a platform to use to provide services. We have a podcast called Kitchen Table Conversations, where we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, and we are providing some good kitchen table conversations. I also own a for-profit Mothers Living Well Community, too many jobs, Living Well Community Counseling Service, where I'm the founder and owner, and we provide mental health services to families, to couples, to individuals, and we will be providing group services real soon. I'm going to pass it on to Miss Regina Brown.
Hi, everyone. My name is Regina Brown. I am the president and founder of Transform Life Christian Coaching, where I do help those who have suffered abuse or who have trauma backgrounds or suffered anything in life. Come and talk to me. I got you. Christian is in my title because I do infuse God into it, but not religion, because I understand that it's not about religion, it is about relationship. Whether you're older or younger, I'm here for it, especially the children, middle-aged, and as we know, adults are suffering as well. We just have hid it to where we can't hide it anymore. So that's what I bring to the table. Oh, I need to call on somebody, right? Sorry about that, you all. I'm going to call on Felicia Matlock.
Good evening. Sorry about that. My name is Felicia Matlock. I am a social worker with over 20 some years experiences, currently with Cook County Health, as well as have my own private practice. And just so inspired to be a part of this village of healers and everything. So I just want to contribute my part as well. Also an author of children books as well as novels. So I definitely want to lend my support. So I would like to turn it over to Beatrice Hardy. Did she already go? Beatrice
Hello,
Hardy
hello.
or
I'm
There you
here.
go.
How you doing?
okay.
How's everybody? Hi, Felicia. I haven't seen you for a while. One of my former co-workers when I was a former case manager. What is I'm into the history. It is Ms. B's Historical Community Tours, and I have a nonprofit called Freedom 13. Uh, and I'm right now, I am currently a supportive service manager for a job training program. It's called Green Corps Chicago, and we're working with men and women that has been incarcerated and disinvested communities. And so that has given me the platform to shape all what I do with my history, because I've gotten into history because I learned through my own challenges in life that it didn't begin with me. And so through history, I found out that that's where a lot of anxieties came from. That's where a lot of I don't know and have been misunderstood. I'm Southern too, so that brings another uh, challenge sometimes in certain spaces. But I am very happy to be a part of this. I want to hear more about this. This is sound like the group of like-minded people I need to be with to help me to elevate, continue to elevate myself personally as well as professional. Okay, who did not speak yet?
I
Jonathan
have a
Johnson.
Miss
I can
Beatrice, you said Jonathan Johnson?
Bianca. Yes, Jonathan Johnson.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Johnson, you there?
No, it's not there.
I give it another few seconds.
No, I was gonna say I can go. What
Let's
Okay,
go,
y'all doing?
Bianca. Bianca, you go,
What's
and then
Bianca.
if Jonathan
Mm-hmm.
comes on board, then Jonathan can go out to Bianca, and then we'll take it from there.
got it? I came on late, so what's the prompt?
Oh, the prompt.
Mm.
Tell us who you are. We kind of just really doing real soft introductions. We treating this like I'm a Church of God in Christ baby, so we treating this like we are one of them you got less than 2 minutes.
All right, 30 seconds, Bianca. I'm Southside born and raised Chicago. I am the founder of Behind the Confident Smile, where we inspire women to walk in love, live in hope, and be healed from past hurts. Also have over 15 years of nonprofit leadership experience and currently co-leading a social justice leadership development organization focused on 18 to 30-year-olds, supporting them in their leadership growth and community. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Bianca. Jonathan, are you ready? And if Jonathan's not, oh, there you go.
I,
I see you coming off now.
I'm ready. I'm Dr. Jonathan Johnson. I am the
Doc,
CEO of I'm the CEO of Community Identity Care Services. We have a mental health clinic in Homewood, Illinois, and we provide a holistic approach to mental health services. We also have case managers and street engagement specialists and things of that sort that provide direct care and services to people that have Medicaid. We have self-paid sliding fee scale. And we have contracts with TAS, a pending contract with DCFS, and a whole lot of different things going on right now. All right. And I'm glad to be here.
thank you, Doc. Can you pass it to, let's see, I believe we have Ticey, Vanessa Perkins, Teresa Hicks Harris, Dr. LaShawn, Dominique, Kalila, D.
I'm
Bell.
going to pass it to Dominique.
All right, let's go.
Hi, team. My name is Dominique Jasmine Smith. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I want to first make sure you all can hear me because I have my headphones on.
You good, boo?
Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Okay, great. Okay, I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I work with all populations. I'm the proud founder of Empower Urban Communities, which is a nonprofit organization that provides holistic holistic services to, again, all populations. Primary target group, young adults and teenagers. I also the owner of Empowering Behavioral Health Services, which is a mental health based organization that provides that provides mental health services for all populations as well, free of charge. We accept insurance. However, for those who are not, able to pay, our goal is to make sure that everyone's mental health is being supported. I'm honored to be in this space because I was previously a teacher for District 205, and then I decided that and realized that neglecting the social, emotional, and mental health piece would not allow our students, families, or communities to thrive and reach their full potential. So I decided to continue my education and focus on the mental health piece. That's it. Thank you for bringing us here.
Thank you, Dominique. I just put in the chat. I think and if I'm wrong, please correct me. We still need Jasmine Ford to be introduced, Teresa Hicks Harris, Ticey Bell, D Bell, Tamika Howard, Kalila Watkins. Kalila, please correct me if I'm mispronouncing your name because it could be Kalila. It could be Kalila. But guess what? We family. We locked in. So I apologize, but I think I got the thumbs up. So Dominique, I need you to select. Oh, Vanessa Perkins. I think I left your name off. Vanessa Perkins and my little baby. Hey y'all. Who
Jasmine Ford, we'd love to hear from you.
Let's go.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Jasmine Ford. I am a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner. I specialize in treating and diagnosing and evaluating mental health and psychiatric conditions, behavioral conditions in children and adolescents, as well as adults licensed through lifespan. So I treat children starting at age 4 all the way up through ages 64. I also do some community advocacy work, primarily focusing in on the youth and neurodivergent presentations. And I think a lot about the neurodivergent, everyone knows the preschool to prison pipeline. So I always think about the neurodivergent to what is labeled criminality pipeline when there aren't appropriate interventions in place. So we think about Black and brown children. I'm sorry, guys. My drapes are closed and I'm out of town. I'm in Vegas. I don't fancy stuff. Okay. So yeah, I always think about this pipeline of how, Black and brown children are underdiagnosed, misdiagnosed, or diagnosed more chronically with oppositional defiant disorders, disruptive mood dysregulation disorders, oftentimes having neurodivergence and autism, ADHD, and other sensory issues being missed and unfortunately are labeled and do not get the appropriate interventions, which eventually leads to labels of oppositional defiance. Juvenile delinquency is what we used to call it. And, kids getting locked up. We have prison and we have crime and we have all the things that we're seeing today. And so I'm just happy to be here with you guys.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Oh, let's see. And I'll pass it to Miss Teresa Hicks Harris.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I am Teresa Hicks Harris. I'm a behavior specialist with Chicago Integrated Health and their Project Thrive ABA clinic. I specialize in working with children between the ages of 2 through 18, social emotional regulation, all types of behaviors, as Jasmine has discussed. I use a trauma-informed lens and a restorative lens. I am also a village commissioner with the Village of Hazelcrest. I'm a youth commissioner as well as a public relations commissioner. And I am excited about joining this group because I want to just provide advocacy not only for my community here in the Southland, but also for our youth who desperately need someone who has a restorative voice, not necessarily a punitive or consequential voice. So, hello, everybody.
Oh, and you got to pass it on, Teresa. You on mute.
Sorry, I'm not quite sure who has or hasn't spoken.
Got you.
So,
Ticey Bell, D Bell, Tamika Howard, Kalila Watkins, Vanessa Perkins.
let's pass it to Ticey.
All right, good evening, everyone. I'm excited to be here. My name is Ticey Bell, and I am a community outreach specialist. I work as an organizer as well, and I have been in nonprofit for about 30 years. I did start my own nonprofit back in 2019 called Community Cultivation Project. And my goal and my purpose for being here tonight is in all of these spaces that I'm in, whether we're healing, talking about reparations or social justice. The issue is that I want people to understand we should not be afraid of one another. We should not be afraid of taking the step. I don't want to be a African American woman afraid to travel to Africa or look up my lineage, nor do I want to be an African American woman who's moved to the south side of Chicago and be afraid of our youth and continue to label them as a threat to society as America has deemed all of us as Black individuals. So I am here to uplift, empower, and support all of you all in the work that you do. And I'm just blessed to be here. Thank you. And I will pass it to Dee.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm sorry. Good evening, everybody. Hello. My name is Dee Bell, and I'm with the Village Project. My background includes degrees in African American Studies, Political Science, and Social Work. I'm passionate about supporting individuals, families, and communities through education, resource connection, and community engagement. Excuse the background. I've been involved in the community for a while, and I've worn a variety of hats. When I was a campaign manager, I was the first one that had here locally in Illinois that had a candidate that did not focus on locking people up. Kim Fox's administration was similar to what the candidate that I had prior to her was advocating for. Our organization is currently in a period of retooling and strategic development, and I'm looking forward to learning from others, building relationships, and exploring opportunities for collaboration. One thing I hope this network accomplishes is stronger coordination between organizations so that youth and families can more easily access the support that they need. That's it.
Thank you, D Bill. I appreciate you. I just need you to pass it to someone too.
Okay, so who hasn't? How
We
do I
got
see who hasn't?
we got Tamika Howard, Kalila Watkins, Vanessa Perkins, and I believe Dr. Carlos and LaShawn. Dr. LaShawn is on as well. I'm not sure if it's just their note taker because they're unable to attend or they're actually present. So you got
Okay,
Tamika
I know
Howard,
Dr.
Kalila.
Carlos.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. I
Oh,
know
no
Dr.
problem.
Carlos. Dr. Carlos, I'm passing it to Dr. Carlos.
Okay. I believe it might be his note taker. Not quite too sure. He did pop in. I don't know what may have happened. In the meantime, we have Tamika Howard, Kalila Watkins, and Vanessa Perkins.
So I'm gonna pass it to Tamika.
All right. Thank you, D Bell.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to say thank you definitely for establishing this platform. Currently, at my 9 to 5, I am a correctional officer at Stateville facility. However, I am a co-founder of the Tender Youth Foundation, and we specialize in providing resources and services for, I don't want to just say gun violence victims and their families, because I don't believe in turning anyone away. I'm passionate about connecting people with tangible resources, doing community outreach events and coordinating events as well. I'm pretty much, everyone has deals with trauma. I think it's very important that we find positive ways to deal with conflict resolution and finding ways to deal with coping skills. And I'm very passionate about the youth and helping them find, their purpose in life as well by creating and building stronger partnerships for internships and other community engagements. And I would like to pass it to Miss Vanessa Perkins if she hasn't went yet.
Hi, good evening, everyone. How are you doing? I'm Vanessa Perkins. I was not ready, even though I had a whole lot of time for my 30-second introduction. I recently just graduated with my bachelor's in business administration from Governor State. I'm really just here to see how I can give back to my community. So I see how I can help and offer, my time to my community. Hopefully, I can learn something from everyone here. Everybody seems very established and very know where you're going. I'm still living and learning. Is there, I believe there's one more person left.
The Mrs. Watkins herself, but real quick, Vanessa, I want you to show yourself some grace and compassion because you're well on your way. And I'm 45 and I'm still figuring it out. So don't you ever, long as we breathe, we're gonna always be figuring out for the next level of elevation that God has for us. So you're good.
As you know, and I'm gonna try every day. So I'm here.
Let's go.
Make it happen.
Yes. Mrs. Watkins.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Jones. for creating this space and the opportunity to connect. My name is Kalila, so thank you for giving the space on correction because it is Kalila. And I am a wife and a mom to three girls. I am a District 205 alum, class of 2008, Thornwood High School. Let's go T-Birds. And I went to school for journalism, but a lot of my experience working in media or working in social media strategy has been rooted in maternal health advocacy. So my traumatic birthing experience at UI Health ended up landing me on their advisory board for the melanated group midwifery care research that UI Health has. I'm also on the board for Every Mom Chicago, and maternal advocacy in all of its facets is very important to me. And so that traumatic hospital birth kind of launched me, thrusted me into some online research to figure out what I could do as my husband and I continued to grow our family. What could I do to be seen, to be heard? And that landed me in two very peaceful home births, thankfully, two live births, because I've also experienced pregnancy loss. So grateful for all of those experiences. Looking forward to connecting and seeing how I can offer a lens. I also, in terms of professional work, was a post-secondary counselor for Upward Bound Trio for 5, almost 6 years. So I've worked on the post-secondary planning and then also in higher ed for my alma mater, University of Missouri.
Let's go. Can we just take a moment and like clap it up for ourselves? Like I don't want this. I'm not Oprah. I don't have anything to pass out. But I think you hear the power that's in the room. And oftentimes what happens is it's easy for us to talk about the problems because we see them. Um, but if you're not understanding our current climate and culture in terms of where we stand as a nation, and if I got to take like how the trickle down effect, I think Miss Hardy, I think my Iris and I talked about this earlier, like the lack of understanding your history. Even at my age, there's things I still don't know that I'm open and honest and transparent enough to say like that I'd heard about it, but I didn't take the deep dive. And most times for people like myself, we don't take the deep dive in our history because of the current trauma we're experiencing. And it's like
Yeah.
I don't want to be in trauma overload. Because then how do I unpack that in a way that's going to allow me to sustain? The other piece is when we think about our youth, and that's one of the main reasons why we're here. It's not just about our youth, me being in education, me wearing the lens as a head of deans from Chicago to District 205. I call myself going back to where it started for me, and the lay of the land was totally different by the time I came, to the forefront of what was happening. So being in the trenches of what's happening in the schools and understanding that there is a true divorce that's taking place between school administrators and home life, that if you ever experience the most toxic form of a divorce, this is what's happening in our educational system. It's almost like the school administrators is mom or dad or the other parent. And so now you got these two parents that's odd. And at the end of the day or beginning of the day, when it's all said and done, the children are at a disadvantage. I believe we also had someone else come into the room. And so I just want to make sure that I acknowledge every person, every voice, every representation that is here. Miss Potts, let's go. Can you please introduce yourself? We taking it the Kojic route, Church of God in Christ. You got less than 2 minutes. Talk to us.
All right. Hello, my name is Kasira. You can call me Kiki. I'm a community activist. I do a lot of my work outside in Kankakee area. I have a non-for-profit, Nancy's Place of Paradise, Inc., where I just try to get resources. I'm in the business process of trying to get a shelter out here in Kankakee, and I have a podcast. I have two podcast shows, The Truth Podcast, where show that I have people that have testimonies that can come on and tell their story to let other individuals know they're not alone, give them techniques of how to heal. And also I have conversations we don't have, Escaping Jezebel's Web, where we have conversations that you really don't have publicly that really needs to be talked about. So that's me. And I'm just really ready to work with you due to the fact that my daughter was involved in gun violence. She was a part of that fight that happened at Thornwood High School, and it's deeper than what people really understand and know. So I'm here to do whatever we can to make a change.
Thank you, Kiki. I don't think I ever was given the permission to call you Kiki, so no, I'm about to wear Kiki out. Like, hey, Kiki. No, but no, seriously. I know that I think everyone had the agenda. I don't want this to be a matter of big eyes and little U's and things of that nature. But if you listen to the power that's in the room, we have everything that we need. We are the change. Like I almost feel like, like we on some Joe Clark type stuff. I'm finna start walking the neighborhoods again. Like where the bad at? Like what's up? And I think that's where that's the piece is that because of societal stigmas, because of social media influence, what you see happening is in our Black and brown communities, we are afraid of each other. Who was that? That was Ticey that said that. Like, oh, let me walk on the other side of the street. I'm not gonna lie to you. I wear hoodies in the summertime. Why? Because I'm allergic to prolonged, exposure to the sun. So yes, it might, and I'm dark skinned, and I'm bald, and I'm a heavy set woman. So there's times where I feel the impact of what's happening, and I'm like, dang, if they knew me, I'm the sweetest person alive. And so just imagine about what you've experienced in your own life and how it has impacted the way you operate and understanding too. And I talked to Adina about this, and if you follow me on social media, I talk about arrested development. I don't want to go off on a tangent because I do want to stay to our agenda, but I need to hear from you all, and you could come off mute. So this is not like I'm just talking by myself. This is a conversation amongst love-minded, solution-oriented people. What I have seen since 2020 up until current day is the impact of what we experienced with the pandemic, the level of isolation, the level of uncertainty, the way that even if your life was dysfunctional, if you normalize that level of dysfunction and you're uncertain about that, then what you see is arrested development. I am watching, even with my two youngest children, to students that I serve, to adults that in my mind by a certain age you should know, and it's not happening. And so what is it that we need to do is get back to the basics. Our schools are trauma centers, and if you ever been to the emergency room before, usually what happens is they show you a card and ask you from a scale of 1 to 10, what is your level of pain? 1 being like 0 being like, oh, I'm just here, like I'm trying to get ahead of it, I feel like a little scratch, so I'm here at the emergency room. Or it's a 10 and it's excruciating. Because that pain is subjective, what might be painful for me may not be painful for you. But if our children are entering these school buildings day in and day out, and the staff is not supported, the administrators are not supported, the lunch crew is not supported, the bus crew is not supported, the security guards who decided to come back, and I'm being very specific about what I'm seeing in the south suburbs, and someone need to talk about the way these security guards are hired and understanding the level of de-escalation that's not taking place. Because most times what I have seen more than not, and because I'm a former school administrator, what I've seen is that if Shaniqua was considered, like, am I talking to my people? Can I just talk? If Shaniqua was considered a lame in high school, I wasn't though, let me be very clear. But if I was considered a lame in high school, and I'm experiencing arrested development to the extent where I'm still stuck in those high school years. And I've conjured up in my mind from the level of trauma that I experienced from being the lame, from being bullied, from being talked about, or whatever, or ostracized or intimidated or antagonized or placed in one classroom all day because I was either misdiagnosed, underdiagnosed, or not diagnosed at all, or I was seen as a problem because no one can meet me where I was at. I'm going to become the adult that gets back into the school district and relive my high school years, because now that I'm legal and I'm of age, I have an authority in this building. And so, yes, I might go talk to the 17-year-old because this is my time to shine. I could go on and on about the many stories and things I witnessed and experienced, but we gotta, our lived experiences alone has created us to be the experts in our own right. And I'm not even getting to the credentials yet. So, come off mute, talk to me. I know I have an agenda, but what keeps you up at night about the community? And just if you have the ability to do so, use your reaction where it says to raise your hand so I can call you in order. Tamika Howard, I see your hand is up. Go ahead and talk to us. After Tamika, Kiki.
One of my biggest things that I have such a hard time with is identifying them red flags. When we notice in from an early age, whether it's a cousin, whether it's including the parent, because I have to say, having young adults, these we can say a lot of things about what the young adults are going through, but they are also holding us accountable as well to not repeat the repeated cycle of trauma. And I commend them on that. Now, I may not agree with how they may execute it and want to deal with it and talk about it, but I do commend them for stepping up and saying, hey, that wasn't okay. You didn't like it. So please don't repeat that cycle. But I do have a strong concern that when we notice the red flags, sometimes the parents are even, just as institutionalized and traumatized. So it's even hard to have them conversations. But if you know little Johnny out here is a hot mess, why not try to address those issues early in the forefront? And that's where, that conversation of starting back to the basics, starting at pre-K, teaching moral values, mannerism, the yes, the no's, the boundaries, the respect. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves, because
Call ended.
I see them I see them at Stateville, and that's on a whole different spectrum.
I can only imagine, Tamika. I see a few raised hands. Thank you for that, Tamika. And I want you all to know. Let me just say this real quick before we move forward. I'm recording this, as you can see, because I want to make sure we all have access to this. And then also, with your permission, with your contact information, if you feel led to do so, I want to be able to share the collective whole so we can start making. This is, again, I need y'all to know, this ain't a Dr. Shaniqua Jones thing. This is a us thing. It's a collective whole. And so I don't mind, from an administrative standpoint, putting everything that need to be put together and send it out. If we have everybody permission before we part ways this evening, I want to make sure we're on the same page to share everyone's information. The other piece is too, real quick, I see Dr. Jordan has joined us. If possible, Dr. Jordan, can you introduce yourself the Kojic way, less than 2 minutes? And after you introduce yourself, I want Kiki, you still have your hand up, Kiki, and then Iris.
Hi, Marianne Jordan. I am the CEO of JMP National Youth Empowerment Network and also the joint owner of JMP Consulting Group in the Southland. And so I'm very much interested about being on Dr. Jones's anything that she does, because it's all about keeping the peace and strategizing collaboratively to address whatever issues are going on as it relates to youth. And so, sorry that I'm on here, but I'm driving, and so just wanted to do a quick introduction. And thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you, Dr. Jordan. Real quick before we get to Kiki, then Iris, Dr. Jordan and Iris Patterson, can you please connect before the end of the day? If not, by the weekend, please, please,
Yes,
please.
yes,
Thank
yes, yes, yes. I need you. All right.
Say less. Kiki, then Iris.
All right. I'm gonna try to make these points. I want to go in like a couple of areas real quick. I want to piggyback off when we was talking about security guards, and I started really thinking about when I was in high school. I started thinking about hearing the stories my daughter have in high school. One of the things that we have a problem with is staff sometimes become friends with these individuals and they show favorites. And so that's why they're able to do what they want to do here and there, right? Or we have these officers that are flirting inappropriately with these children, right? So I just think that that's a problem. Another problem is sometimes staff come to school and they upset. And if they upset, everybody gonna have a bad day. They don't know how to separate the two. And another thing, no shade to anybody, this is what I see, observe in my area at times. We have a lot of different organizations. And the community still don't really know that they exist. The problem is for me that the organizations really don't go and put their boots on the ground. I live in low income housing. I live in the trenches. I deal with these people. And that's why there can't be a real community unity with other organizations, because you don't come and you don't build real relationships with these people. I remember, like, now I'm the auntie of this Crestview Village apartment complex. Like, all the kids love me and respect me. And I'm not auntie. I'm going to check you. I'm going to tell your mama. And that's what it is. You can't do what you want to do. And these kids love that. And I remember as a kid, I had that one neighbor that made sure if my mama wasn't around and she was around and she saw me, she was gonna check me. So, and what all I'm saying is, I think that more organizations need to come into the communities for real, and don't give these people excuses. Because the main excuse would be, oh, I ain't got no transportation to get there. Oh, nah, we bring it to them, they don't have no reason but to accept it. And then if they don't accept it, it's all 100% on them because we tried as a community to help them. So that's my thoughts.
You hear me wearing this out? Thank you, Kiki. No, seriously. And so again, like, this was a matter of not just a call to action, but how do we hold each other accountable? Because the other piece is too, when funding in, programs in. When what I don't want to see happen is that any of us, and mind you, there was other people who requested information about this, and I was like, this got to be a God thing for me. And so this is not a move of Shaniqua from pride and ego. This is more like my plate full. I think all our plates are full. But God wouldn't let me sleep till I put something together. And I was like, well, thank you, Lord, for Chat GPT. So here we are, the Village Response Network. So I want to be able to come alongside, and I already made the open connection between Iris and Dr. Jordan. But before we end tonight, there's a few things that I want us to do in terms of next steps. Dr. Dominique already texted me, said she'd come alongside me from an administrative standpoint to keep everything afloat and keep everybody abreast. I'm gonna put this out here in the air, Iris. If we need to have a location to meet, and because who take care of you, right? As we are healers and practitioners and experts and all the things in our own right, how can we make sure that as we continue to serve our communities in the South Suburb, Cook County and Will County area? I'm very specific because I love Chicago, but every time Chicago call me, it don't feel right, and I live in Monique. I grew up in Harvey. Like, I stayed in Chicago for 4 years, but it's time to get back to the trenches, right? So I went on, I said my little tangent for a moment, but everybody needs to connect with at least one person. You had every person represented, you heard them. I hope you was very intentional and deliberate about hearing the people that's in the room. Connect with at least one person. We have everything we need. Iris, and then Miss Hardy.
Yeah, the frustrating thing that I've experienced personally, when it came to the community, it's the parents who don't hold their children accountable. My family so I grew up in Inglewood, 63rd and Honorary. We moved to 63rd and Rockwell. There was this family who lived down the street from us, and I could see it very clearly. We owned a van, and for some reason, this family just did not like my dad and my grandfather, so they disrespected our entire family regularly. The mother of that house worked at the police station, and it was one particular night, actually, we heard this boom, boom, boom sound, and it was her children throwing bricks at our van, trying to break the glass window. We called the police. The police took them away. I want to say an hour later, she was driving him back home. And she came to us. She said, I understand that they tried to, attack your van, but just pray for my son. I just want you to pray for him. He going through a whole lot. And my father went ballistic. And that's the mother that I can't stand, who stands in the way of holding her son accountable, standing in the way of consequences. And we have a lot of parents out there that block consequences if they can, and they grow up to be awful human beings. And so if we can get more buy-in from the parents to help to actually parent their child and show them the way. And if they get locked up because they did something really stupid, like trying to destroy someone's vehicle, let it happen. But we don't have that. And I think if we have more of that, then I think it'll be less violence in this world. He grew up to be much of nothing, but most of her kids have. And it was because of that. She had pool at the police station. Whenever they went to jail, she bailed them out the same day.
Yeah, no accountability. I think to add to what you said too, Iris, before we go on to Miss Hardy and then Teresa, Adina, then D Bell, is that I left education in 2022 because there's no way I was about to walk in wearing a bulletproof vest another day. My husband bought me a bulletproof vest to wear to work because there was not one time where I had to call home because a child slapped the ish out of a teacher, and I made that phone call home. And guess what? Their whole family was at the school. After school, they knew my car, they knew my truck, they knew my license plate, they knew where I lived, they knew who my kids were. This is what I battled. And even though I have tough skin, it shouldn't be a matter of when you look at that child in that classroom, when you look into the eyes of a child, classroom or not, you look into the eyes of what they experience. And so we it's not just like how do, and not even like Black Momish, I want you to talk too, because when you talk about parents, think about it's historical, right? If you were raised in a household where you're supposed to pray, then it's like, well, all is well. And the intent, if that's the way you were raised, then you're only equipped with what you know until you expose to anything that make you question what you ever were, what your upbringing was. And perfect example before I get to you, Miss Hardy, is that I didn't have my first steak until I met Thomas Reed at Thornwood High School, because I was sitting here with a bag of chips for lunch and he was sitting here eating a prime rib. Never, I mean, no, a T-bone steak. Never saw a steak till I was 17. And because of that implication of exposure, I was like, Thomas, I don't want none, because, and then I had to learn the difference between what was rare, what was well done, and because I'm like, why is it a little pink? And I'm okay on that. But I'm sharing this to say that in our minds, we might think that might be a small indication of one thing, but that led down to like, well, what else is out there besides well, it wasn't Takis, and was Flaming Hots, or used to make the little bag, you get the paper bag, right? And so I started talking to Thomas every day about, well, what else should I learn? What else can you tell me? So I'm telling him about stuff that's happening in Harvey. He's telling me about stuff that's happening in South Holland. He telling me about the food they eat at the dinner table. I'm telling him about, like, we don't have a dinner table to eat at. I don't know what, like, we eat in our rooms or whatever, right? And because of that level of exposure, it led me down to, just from a bag of chips and a steak, to say, like, what else is out here in life? And I began to question things that I used to, because I didn't know, I didn't have a comparison, I didn't have something else to think about. And so my vantage point on life changed because of Thomas Reed. I mean, because of God, let's be honest, but just that part alone. So Miss Hardy, Miss Hicks.
Yes, I'm right here.
Yeah, let's go.
As I'm listening to you all, it was Iris spoke about the parent, and it goes back. It didn't begin with that parent. It goes all the way back to our history, how we was raised, what we was taught to do. I'm from the South, so I came from the South in the '60s, where you could not speak until spoken to. Um, Also dealing with racism. I dealt with riots and all of that from grade school all the way through high school. Had to deal with racism because my mom bused us to white schools. So it also brought a trauma. It brings trauma that the parent puts on to the next generation, not knowing that they're doing that, but it's about safety. And when I was growing up, it was about our safety. Don't speak when you're spoken to. We everything we had to do, it had to be structured in such a way, but then we had parents that didn't even understand that. And so they were surviving. And so it puts you in a survival mode that if you're not taught the correct way on how to do things, then you are going to protect your child because you don't want your child to get hurt, not thinking that you holding that child back from their growth. Then this is another experience that I've had also that got me deeper into understanding it didn't begin with you. The population that I work with is the disadvantaged, what we call a disadvantaged community, but more so is just as involved in some kind of way. And I'm working right now. We have a diverse group of transgenders and all. And so one of the things I do, they put me, because I am the older one there. At first, they kept me to the side. And so they was trying to work these men and women from age 20 to, I think the oldest one now is like 56. And they constantly kept having these issues and challenges with them because they were standing before them, giving them a script. This is how you should act. This is how you should be. And so this year, they stepped me up. And I have this small piece that I do every Tuesday. It's called Motivational Tuesday for 5 to 10 minutes. The first time I did it, I introduced them to who I was. This is who I am. I'm no better than you. Anything I say to you, as you develop, I'm developing because you're going to help me get past my barriers. Like I'm here to help you get past your barriers. When I when I made them feel that they were somebody and not something, the it's about 45 of them. When I walk into the building, and every morning when I walk into the building, 45 people says one at a time, "Good morning, Miss B. Good morning, Miss B. How you doing, Miss B? Lovely to see you, Miss B. Thank you, Miss B. Miss B, can I have a hug?" They had no idea I needed that. And that I needed that because I also had to learn that my trauma didn't begin with me. I'm a veteran. That played a role as well, but I also came from the South that played a deeper role. We had to learn how to be hospitable when we was being violated. So when I came to the North, my trauma didn't come from those that did not look like me. It came from those who looked just like me. I was judged because it was like, "Oh, you too nice. You too nice. That's weak. That's this." It was always negative. No support. None of that. And I came from the roots that you supported one another. And so it is we as African Americans, as Black people, as Negroes. I came from all the way back then, when we all the way to the N word. As we come together and we fix ourselves individually, and we work ourselves, and we could connect to each other, as you said, Doc, that this was given to you through God. I only joined because I felt that. And if we're going to do it that way, then we need to be an example of his son. He was a connector. That's exactly what he was. He was a connector. He did not judge. No, everyone is not going to be what we want them to be. They're not going to say it the way you want them to say it. They're not going to do it. So what I tell people is, why don't you just go to those you know you can work with? We're not going to save everybody. But I may be able to catch an audience that you might not catch. That's okay. But that doesn't mean I can't learn from you on how to set that platform for them. So we have to understand that that's what you all see today is trauma that came from my ancestors. So as we heal ourselves, we heal our ancestors. And then I'm going to wrap it up. When I spoke to this group again, I let them know that, of course, it didn't begin with you, but you have an opportunity to change. And you have to take advantage of that opportunity. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to get it right. You're not going to change overnight. However, just standing before them and sharing some of my personal stories as they shared theirs, it made them feel more present in life. It's like they tell me all the time, when we see you, we already know when you're not there because we don't feel that presence. You coming in busy as you are, you'll come and peep just to say hello. You see us in the hallway. How you doing? You okay? What's up with that face? What's that face all about? What's going on? And so we have to, I think once we educate ourselves through our history of ancestors, which going to lead us to our own family ancestors, it'll give us a better outlook on what audience that we do fit in, and then how we collaborate together and we blend all of this together. And then that's the way we all teach and touch everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Miss Hardy. Um, Teresa, Adina, D, then Jasmine.
So I want to take it back to, and I do apologize, I can't remember who mentioned the comment about the schools. And I agree that our children are experiencing a level of trauma at school and at home well beyond anything that we could have ever imagined. However, what we also have to take into account is we are looking for our children to be nurtured and educated and taught by broken people.
Exactly.
The level of culture, the level of accountability, just they have been victimized by the educational system. They have come into a system where maybe they were traumatized as kids in the educational system. And so we have staff who need a level of healing before they can even begin to help with our children, because we can pour into restoratively and every which way into the kids, and kids are very intelligent. If we teach them what they need to do and how they need to respond, they are going to do that. However, they are looking for the appropriate response, and if they are being led by staff, whether it's the principal, whether it's the teacher, whether it's the lunch lady, the custodian, or whomever it is, cannot provide that appropriate response and attention, then all of our teaching and what we are attempting to do is for naught. And one of the things that I want to do so desperately and advocate for is to work with staff. I understand it's a twofold system. It's the parents, it's the staff, and then we have a village of children who aren't being led in any way. So where my question, but my charge is, what do we need to do to begin to just heal the collective as a whole? Because we can't expect to pour into our babies and have them begin to heal and be the children that we want them to be if they're being led by broken people and a broken system at that.
Yep, totally agree. To your point, Teresa, before we move on to Adina, and I know if anyone needs to leave at 7, please feel free to do so. But I'm not going to end this conversation just yet because I think we well on our way. The main thing I see as a issue, especially in the south suburbs, is if you don't have the right hand of a board member, you're not getting into these schools. And if you don't I don't believe in compromising my integrity. I just can't. There's been plenty of opportunities that has been presented, but if it don't align and it's not going to sustain and it's going to keep me up at night, I'm not going to do it. So it's not even just the staff. This goes back to what I talk about, like the divorce between the administrators and home life.
Yes.
The school, like
Yes.
it is deplorable. Like I could go on and I won't. That I won't go off on a tangent because I could talk about problems, but we are the solution. So thank you for that, Teresa, D. Bell, Jasmine Ford, Tamika. Give me 1 second because I'm gonna see if someone. Adina, where are you? Got you. Okay, Adina, D, Jasmine, and back to Tamika.
Okay, so I wanted to make a few points. One is that I agree wholeheartedly with Ms. Hardy that it's a systemic problem. I'm very much a person that believes in history and how history impacts us to this day, and that's to me that's what it all aligns to. So I had to do this, bring out this book. This is Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome. I suggest you all read this. That's by Dr. Joy DeGerty. And then Rage. White Rage is by Carol Anderson, and it explains how they systemically made sure that we were put out of schools, I mean, on and on. Okay, so I just wanted to say that first. The second thing I wanted to say is that we can't control parents. We cannot control parents. There's no way to control the way children are being raised in their houses. We cannot police the parents into raising kids how we think they should be raised, and we cannot punish parents into raising kids how we think they should be raised. We can't control them. What we can control is, to a certain extent, the youth, right? So one thing is, I remember when my son was in kindergarten, I spent a lot of time in the school district. I volunteered in the school almost every day. And I remember in kindergarten, he had a he had a beef with this little boy. Really, the little boy had a beef with him in kindergarten, right? And so it was always this bullying thing where this young man was bullying my son. He talked to the administrators about it, he talked to the dean about it. And literally the dean was like, listen, he just gonna have to fight back. And I wasn't necessarily against that. However, I did go to the principal of the school and I told him, this is where conflict resolution starts, right here in kindergarten. If and I know that there's an issue, and I just heard you, Dr. Shaniqua, say that if you can't get to a board member, you have a hard time getting to the schools. Um, I work with Creek Monique High School, and they have a task force they put together of community members. And in that task force, there are psychologists, doctors, if you will. And they've made it so that if children have a certain number, specifically in the high school, if the children have a certain number of referrals, then they have to go into group counseling, real life counseling. So I wanted to bring that to the point of, I think it's Senate Bill 1560, which was passed last year. And that bill will make sure that all children beginning in I say 2027 school year will have to go through mental health evaluations. So, thinking forward, going forward, it's like how can we take advantage of that within the school system, even though we are a full year away from that. So I think that was on my points. Let me make sure because I did type them out.
I love this, Adina. I was just talking to
I
Iris
wanted
about
to.
what's coming down the pipeline in the state of Illinois from the Illinois State Board of Education for the 2027-2028 school year. Every child from grades 3 through 12 will be mandated to have a mental health screening, which is the basic PHQ-9. Yep.
Right. And so with that being said, as someone who works in the intersection between school and home, right, who's dealt with parents that curse them out, who's dealt with parents who's tried to fight them and other kids, at the after school program, who's worked in what's considered a at-risk community, there is a space there that we're missing in that after school program space. That space can provide the mental health resources that you all can provide, to give to the students. And it also provides them a place where they're not in school, where they're not being hollered at about how they didn't do their work or how they didn't do this and that in school. They're not at home. As soon as they walk through the door, getting screamed at about whatever it is that's going on at home. That in between space is a space where they can get a smiling face and say, hey, how you doing? How was your day today? And in the school district where I work, it was also, let me talk to the dean. Let me see, can I create a connection with the dean so I can see if Johnny is not doing well in math? Okay, Johnny, how can I help you do well in math? So I want to make sure that that space is also covered within what we're talking about today.
I appreciate
Before
that,
you
Adina.
move on, what was the two books? I got
I put
right
one.
grade. What was the first one?
The first one was the post.
Okay.
Where's that? If you go to the chat, I put
Post-traumatic slave syndrome. You can't see it, but it's post-traumatic
I
slave
put the link in
syndrome.
the chat, Adina. I need the second book.
Okay.
It is White Rage by Carol Anderson.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Adina. D Bell, Jasmine Ford. I need anyone that's in the south suburbs that have connections to youth to connect to Adina today. All right, D Bell and Jasmine Ford.
Can I speak? Is it okay now?
Yes, D
Hello?
Bell.
Okay, hey. I just want to say one area that I've been thinking about is how we can create safe spaces where parents and caregivers where they receive support while their children are engaged in positive supervised activities, right? Sometimes, families need resources. They need time to connect with other parents, learn from one another, feel supported rather than judged. I think there may be opportunities for collaboration around family engagement and caregiver wellness as well. I think that's something that I've been thinking about for a while, right? The mother may be stressed out, may have all kind of things going on at home or whatever, but if they have a space to just get away and be around other mothers or whatever, let the kids get away. Maybe they don't know because in the environment that they grew up in, right? Um, when I was in school, I had two classmates who were pregnant by their father, right? So we don't know what type of things go on in people's households, right? So I'm just saying that that's an alternative to look at it where can just have some time and to learn about how to uh, properly be a parent, right? And the children get a chance, the opportunity to have, time away and be able to do things, and they can learn as well. So that's just something I've been thinking about, you know, as in regards to a resource, and that's something that I'm probably gonna eventually implement in some capacity. But it was just something that something that I'm working with. So I just wanted to.
Appreciate you, D Bell. I was trying to let you know it was a little choppy. I heard some of what you were saying, but I think the transcription picked up enough. So I want to be able to make sure if I have to follow up, I'll follow up with you if I missed anything, or if the transcription missed anything, I'll follow up with you. Thank you for your contribution, D. Jasmine.
Okay, coming off mute. Okay, I will be quick. I know we're just a little bit past 7, but I think a lot of what I've been thinking throughout this conversation has been verbalized in one way or another. I wanted to kind of circle back around to what Ms. Hicks has stated about, with us having adults who are broken and traumatized, who are, tasked with caring for or being the example for these children. And a lot of the work that I've been doing in the community has centered around that, educating caregivers and educators about neurodivergence, autism, ADHD, anxiety, the fact that the median age of onset for anxiety in young people is 6 years old. So kids are anxious from the time that they are 6 years old, and it goes untreated, undiagnosed. We're not even looking at it. We're just saying that they're disrespectful, they're shutting down, they're irritated, they're agitated, they're anxious, they're scared. That leads to depression. It's all types of things that children go through up to adulthood. And then we have an anxious generation of adults as well, right? All of our nervous systems are fried because we've been dealing with this since we were kids, right? I mean, that's just really the context that we're working with. And so I think someone else spoke about, we just need a collective intervention, right? Just with the educators and the caregivers. We have, you all spoke to what's coming down the pipeline in Illinois. Now, with regard to this screening that's going to take place, right? Screening is great, but then what do we do? What do we do with that? And I think those of you who have worked in education know that once you identify something has to be done about it. And a lot of folks don't want to touch that stuff. So, I think this is going to take a mindset shift. And, as you said, Dr. Jones, we all seem to be here for such a time as this because it is going to take a collective mentality shift for everyone to really understand what we are up against in the community. I'll end by saying that I'm a prescriber. I'm a medication manager. So the best way I can describe the work that I do is similar to a psychiatrist. But I happen to be Black. I happen to have grown up in the trenches. I happen to have a lot of community influence, right? And I'm influenced by the environment that I grew up in. So I'm always considering economic factors, social factors, like the psychology of being Black in my own framework and taking care of people. And so when I'm evaluating and diagnosing people, I'm looking at the entire picture. It's a very holistic perspective. How did you grow up? What happened to you? What is your story and what led us up to this point? And so I've been working with a lot of patients, more than I care to count, that have been being diagnosed late term with neurodivergence, ADHD and autism in their 30s and in their 40s, and have had just such a difficult life as a result of not being able to organize themselves, having time blindness, misunderstanding cues in their social environment, not understanding themselves emotionally. And so
there's so much that adults have gone through in generations prior that we have all gone through in generations prior, but it's so much worse. And COVID is such a confounding factor, and social media, and there's just so much that we have to think about. I think, there are so many different nuances, and you all have spoke to many of them. And that was very much I could have articulated that better, I feel, but I just really wanted to share. I appreciate us all, coming together here, and that we have a lot of work to do and a lot of different vantage points to look at this from.
Yes, Jasmine, you kind of your speaking convicted me to a certain degree. No, not a certain degree, convicted me wholeheartedly, because as I'm speaking to Arrested Development, it's not solely Arrested Development. It's a combination of what you're speaking of. Someone who went through their entire life navigating life either undiagnosed, misdiagnosed, or whatever the case may be, and then they meet a Jasmine S. Ford who helps them figure out how can you be better equipped with the right skills, tools, and resources so you can navigate the rest of your life in a more efficient and effective way. My God, today. Right? Man, okay. I know this is good. Like I'm sitting outside. My husband okay. As long as he okay, I can stay on here. Whenever y'all need to leave. I mean, we're not gonna be on here all night. I'm not gonna treat this like the old school church service. I used to be like, Mama, for real. Ain't that much love in the Lord. But anyway, needless to say, it is. It is. Isaiah, I'm ready to hear from you. I see your hand is up, and I'm glad. Up, you on mute. Come on. This your time to
Yeah,
shine.
yeah, okay. So yeah, I've been listening to what everybody's been saying. I think I'm just honest, I feel like an awe just kind of listening to you guys. You have so much experience with like different areas and things. But I was kind of thinking about some things for myself about, what we do with the community and like the kids and things like that. And like especially for all the systemic like pressures from all sides. Like how do you when like teachers are traumatized, the parents are traumatized, the kids are traumatized. But I have a lot of experience to back it up, but I feel like something that I really believe in is like the power of like hope
Hold
and the
on,
need
Isaiah.
for it.
There you go. There you go. It kind of went out for a second.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying like the power of hope and the need for it because I feel like unfortunately probably like not anytime soon will a lot of the systemic pressures ease. I feel like, we're probably not gonna be able to heal all our teachers or parents in any reasonable amount of time, but I do feel like I have my psychology background. We learn about trauma and how it is selective. There are people who go through the same thing, and one could turn out, really traumatized, and one could not. It could be something happens differently, and a lot of times that's just like meeting like one person who really cares, or something else going on that makes them a little bit more resilient. And I think a lot of times that is like a hope. I feel like a lot of times some of these kids don't have like any hope that they can be anything good, that wherever they are, there is a way back. And it reminded me of that story that someone was talking about the woman who said, please pray for my son. That's to me sounds like someone who has lost hope that there's anything she can do for her son and says, like, I need outside intervention. I don't know what I would do about this. And or that's I think about trying to like instill hope and letting kids know that wherever they're at, there's a way to get back and to thrive, like all of you have. You all have shared like some similar experiences, but something happened that turned that, trauma to power, turned into something else. And so I wonder, like, if you can take the kid who, is aggressive and throwing bricks at like a van, could they be aggressive at throwing, bricks to the system, metaphorically. Can we turn those things, that energy, that excess passion that is being redirected at themselves or other people towards things that, need some excess energy thrown at it? Like, a lot of these systemic barriers, a lot of these problems that a lot of these kids are going to have to work 3 times as hard to deal with. Can we get the excess energy pointed in that direction and make that seem like something reasonable, possible, hopeful to do? That was the thought that came to my head.
No, that was good, Isaiah. I see your hand up, sis. Nikki. One of the things so y'all know, if you know me by now, I'm very transparent. My therapist told me I want you to get a specific pen and a specific journal that's just for your therapy sessions. This is it right here. I had therapy earlier today, and I admitted to her that I stopped dreaming. When my mother died, I stopped dreaming. When my husband had a massive heart attack and stroke, I stopped dreaming. I don't dream of like, oh, this what would another home, what would the dream home look like, what would the dream position look like, I what would the dream vacation be, right? Because trauma, that compacted amount of trauma in so small of amount of time, had trauma at the forefront of my mind, that the only thing that I could see is like what's right in front of me. There was no hope, right? And so at that particular time, it wasn't until I had to have my own God-given intervention step in and say, like, dream again. And when I started dreaming again, June 1st, which was Monday, I started a challenge to start walking. And I realized when I walk to get these 10K steps a day, I'm not just walking for myself. I'm walking for my mother, who loved God so much that she loved God and died. I didn't see my mother work out. I didn't see her wear yoga pants. I didn't see her, her and her girlfriends going on a retreat. I didn't see, other than going to the altar, other than praising and worshiping, paying tithes and being in the pulpit. And so the buck stops with me, that I'm going to make sure that as I continue to walk, I walk in the spirit of my mother. Then I have a husband now who went from being able-bodied to now being a quadriplegic. Guess who else I'm walking for? I'm walking for someone who once was able to walk and can't walk at this moment, because I started dreaming again June 1st. I started changing the way I talk. So he may not walk today, but he will walk again because I dream again. So if I'm able to articulate and have this reflective moment, whether I'm walking, whether I'm just in therapy, or whatever that may be, how many other opportunities are there for our youth to be able to dream again, because they have people like Isaiah, Nikki, Adina, Vanessa, Teresa, Regina. I feel like DMX right now. Tamika, Kiki, Iris, Dr. Tiffany, Jasmine, Carlos, Dr. LaShawn, Dr. Jonathan, Dr. Dominique, Regina, D. Bell, Ticey, and everyone else that was on here, because they have people who are real, honest, transparent, love-minded, community-oriented people that shows them a better way than the current circumstances. Nikki, the floor is yours, then Isaiah.
I just wanted to say that I think that this is amazing. One, happy to be in the space with such amazing, like you said, love-minded people. And I just wanted to like just note that like a lot of the moms, and I think I put it in the chat, that we experience at Black Momish is moms who are struggling. Like they are giving up hope. They don't know what to do. They are talking to their children till they're blue in the face. A lot of people are like, the parents don't take accountability. The parents are not doing this. There's a lot of parents that are just tired, that have taken accountability, that have done all that they can, that have, all of these things. They have the village, they're doing all the things, and the kids have social media. They have everything else that is influencing them to make decisions that are not positive, or they're being put in a position because of peer pressure that they don't know what to do. Like I think about my own son, like he has special needs. You would never know it, but he always wants to ride his bike to the park, and that's right down the street. I live in Flossmoor. He just wants to ride his bike to the park. But I'm like, what if a teen takeover? What if something happens while he's up there? Will he know and have the wherewithal to say, this isn't safe? Let me turn and go away. And you're talking about a two-parent household, very involved parents. Just we are on it. We call the school every day. Like the school, no, don't play about. We don't play about that one.
Yep.
I am an former educator, run a nonprofit for Black moms, but my son could get caught up in some nonsense, and you
The
gotta be able to
reality. Thank you, Nikki.
yeah, he could get caught up in it. And I just think we have to educate and wrap around the whole family. It can't just be pointing the finger at the moms, pointing the finger at the dads, not there. Because the reality is a lot of these kids have a mom and a dad in the house. And they're just making wrong choices, whether it be boredom, whether it be peer pressure, social media, whatever, or just caught up at the wrong place at the wrong time. There was some lady in Black Moms group, and she posted a whole thing that her daughter was at the teen takeover at the beach and didn't even realize it.
Yep, I saw that.
Yeah, and she didn't even realize it. So I think we have to, like you said, watch how we're talking about these babies, because at the end of the day, these are all our children. And I think that there has to be a wraparound service where we are considering the whole family, the mom, the dad, the grandma, the auntie. Everybody has to be involved if we're gonna turn this around. That's
Yes,
my two
indeed.
cents.
Thank you for that, Nikki. Thank you. I appreciate that. Isaiah. And then we're gonna start wrapping up. I got a few things I want to say, and then we'll wrap this up and come with some next steps. Isaiah, up you on mute. And it feel like what you saying is profound.
Okay, I just wanted to follow up what you were saying, Dr. Jones. It kind of stimulated what I was trying to say, but about the hope, man, because I feel like I've only been doing therapy myself for like a year, so I'm kind of new, but I do feel like in the small amount of clients and sessions I've had, I feel like people really do need something. The worse the situation, I feel like the stronger the lifeline they need, something to hold on to, a reason to like push through a lot of the influences that there are, especially the worst situation, the more overwhelming influences there are to like continue to fall downward. It's much harder to, especially as like a teenager, to avoid doing the thing that's, probably bad because it's very exciting. It takes a lot. It's a lot of effort, and I think I think we have to teach kids like, when you have the kid who says he wants to be the president, like you don't just like laugh it off. You tell them like you can do that. It will require probably a lot of work, probably an extreme amount of work, but like the idea of striving, whether you make it or not, like what you said about your like, your hope or like your walking or your husband, like the idea of like hoping for the sake of hoping and striving for the sake of striving, because I think that's what will give people the motivation to break through a lot of these systemic barriers for as long as they exist, is like the idea that there is something worth doing it for. And I think if we can like be in those spaces and like give kids an idea of like what is it that you like what do you like to do, what do you want, and help them understand there's like something worth fighting for them. I think that could be like a really important step.
I appreciate that, Isaiah. Yes, when you understand that there's going to be consequences whether you make the right decision, the wrong decision, or not. And so, my question has always been to my children, whatever decision you make, can you live with it? If you got to think about it, like, then you shouldn't, that sound like that's something you shouldn't be doing. And if you can live with it, not me living with it, because you have to understand when you make a decision, it don't just impact you, it impact everyone connected to you. So when you make that decision, you're making a decision for me too. And if I don't roll like that, why would you put us in a predicament? Because I want you to, the best thing someone can do in this season for me is consider me. Just be considerate. That is I think right now that's the greatest form of love, that if you love me enough, you'll consider me. I'm not saying that from a selfish standpoint. I'm saying like if you love me and we connected and there's reciprocity and we operate from a place of integrity and we locked in, show me we locked in by considering me. And that's where I think even adults, let's remove the age. Let's talk just about people in general. We lack humanity because we're not considerate. Me not making sure our grass not cut and being the only house on the block. I don't want to be the one black family in this entire white community that you know them, who live there. And I'm like, I just if that's the case, my neighbor, her name, a white lady 2 doors down named Karen. She's white Karen. She came and run that doorbell. If you saw my post on social media, you know what I'm talking about. I said she came to the door and I looked at the ring gap. I was like, here the hell we go. Because in my mind, society has already conjured up in my mind, this finna be some drama. Because Karen is at my door. And she said, hey, not Dr. Jones, I know you're going through a lot. I know this is happening with your husband. I just talked to my husband. My husband and I are willing to pay to have your yard service if that's a problem. I don't want to offend you. And I was like, Karen, can I hug you? Because I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought you came here on some bullshit. Right. But just that level of humanity. What if I didn't go to the door? I'd have probably missed out on the blessing. Now it's like, even though someone came and cut the grass the next day, the fact that she considered me. She ain't come knocking on the door like, I mean, we don't live in an HOA, but I'm using that as an example to show if we consider someone. Right. And a lot of times, because if it's not blood, we don't consider them. If they don't look like us, we don't consider them. If they're not in our same circle of influence, we don't consider them. If you're gonna talk about restorative justice and integrity and humanity, you have to consider even if that person look like you or not. I'll go a step further. Even if you're a Trump supporter, I still gotta consider you. And that's hard, right? Because like, how the hell? But that's a whole nother conversation. But if we talk about operate like God, God considered everyone. So that's my little tangent. I think, Tamika, you have something you want to share. I'm going to get my follow-up is making sure I get with Dominique so we could coordinate to make sure when is the next meeting? Can we do this in person instead of virtual? I want to be considerate of people's time. I definitely want to make sure that anytime we meet, it's in the South suburbs. I'm not going outside of South suburban Cook County and Will County. We focusing on who we have right here in our own backyard. If you loan 69th and Ashland, I love you, boo. I will share whatever you got, but I'm not concerned about that. I will consider sharing everything that you got because that's where the reciprocity take place. At the same time, I want to make sure we good, because if we not good, no one's good. Tamika.
Okay. I understand that keeping it in the Southland community because I've been doing this restorative justice and gun violence prevention work for over 13 years, and our numbers get grouped in with Chicago, which means that funding goes to Chicago, not strictly to the south suburbs. So, speaking on that, I mean, one recommendation, what we can consider, I don't know, we put a little bit more thought into this process. You know, them grant people love research based information. I'm always going to take it to how do we get to some funding. So, if there's a way that we can come up with a real serious survey for our Southland community, I had an idea I'm a visionary. So I had an idea a while back about doing really research based on what does our Southland community actually have? What groups do we have actively with tangible resources and services so that we're not recreating the wheel, so that we can connect with those that already have certain things established, for example, but getting real live surveys out there to learn what is it that people are stating that they need to give us at least a base starting point of formulating, I don't know, different ways of the services that we can provide, at least lead them in the right direction. And
So
that research also can, the way I pitched it, and I did a little bit of the work. I started in Hazel Crest because that's where we lost my brother. But my question is, what does a healthy ecosystem community look like in the south suburbs? Do we
I,
have one?
I like that, Tamika, which I'm gonna lean on Adina right now because, and I don't think Adina and I touched on this, and maybe you touched on it, Adina. I look at and again, I'm gonna share the document in terms of the responses from the form that was completed. I think we represent not almost. We have representation from a majority of the South Suburban Cook County and Will County areas, because whether it's personal where you live or professional because of where you work or whatever your reach may be, we have what we need right here. So I think for me, what this needs to look like, not just hearing our voices, but maybe inviting, if you feel led to do so, inviting another person here to the table so that we can solidify who we are if that's needed. But the biggest thing for me is like Adina, um, my 20, I know I'm rambling right now. My 21-year-old just had a child, and she's experiencing postpartum depression, right? And so about 2 weeks ago, she was like, man, she calling folks talking about let's link up at this park in Monique. And I was like, I'm trying to mind my business, but I have to remember she is my business. So I'm all in your business because your business is my business. When you say we link, like who linking up? First of all, you better let your people know they better not have no expired license plates, because as soon as they get off at Monique Manhattan Road, I can tell you right now, they won't make it to the park. I'll tell you that. Secondly, I think that's a beautiful idea because I'll help manage. And I honestly believe if you got people coming here from the south side of Chicago to Monique, 9 out of 10, they're not gonna cause too much trouble. At the same time, depending on the amount of people, you might need a permit. She's like, "What? You gotta have a permit to go to a park?" And I said, "That's crazy." And Adina and I talked about that. Can with technology, all I gotta do is say like, "Hey Joe," I could be like, "Hey, I'm right here right now." I post up, even at my big age at 45. Guess what? People will show up. But if there's a issue with crowd control, now it's a takeover. It may not be a teen takeover, and because of the color of my skin, it's considered a teen takeover or an adult takeover and not an adult gathering. Because see, a takeover sound very punitive and deplorable. A gathering sounds more like peaceful, love-minded people coming together. We don't need any police presence. So depending on what your area code is would determine, or your zip code would determine if it's a gathering or if it's a takeover. So I say that to say it would be lovely that Adina and all of us here, we have what we need. There's things that's already established. There's things that people are already doing their own right, in their own expertise, in their own lane. How do we join forces, right? And so I do want to make sure that we share any resources that we have. I'm going to share the document that everyone completed. I'm going to do a fine-tooth run through of what this looked like in terms of And let me just tell you real quick what I had, because when I looked at what everybody did in terms of their responses, I made sure we had like work groups based off your expertise. So you had like the school and education focus area, mental health and wellness, community engagement and resource coordination, youth leadership and violence prevention. And so those were the four like main work groups in terms of the way people responded. So I want to be able to take like a snapshot of your responses, create the group based off what you said your responses are. So this is not me saying like this is where I want you to be. No, this is where you say this is your lane. Kiki, you part of Will County. This is South Suburban Cook and Will County. Yes, indeed. And so I think for me, that's what I want to be able to do. What does this look like? Tamika, I'm with you when it comes to funding. I want to be able to make sure that if you have your one page, I think Dominique, someone already sent that one page. I think that was Dr. Edwards. If you have a one page, whether it's your own bio, whether it's about your business, or if there's an event that you have coming up, if there's a resource that you are connected to, if there is a workshop, a training, a person, whatever they need to look like, make sure you send that information to Dominique, because Dominique and I will make sure that we have a full scope of who's who, what's what, and you have access to everyone information. Of course, I'm gonna, I'm gonna talk about Purple Path. We got a summer PD coming up and we're offering CEUs and CPDUs, and this is to help the adults who are working with youth understand what restorative justice is in their own right and how to utilize it and go from implementation to proper execution. I talk about the 7 main types of trauma, from acute trauma to complex trauma, developmental trauma, historical, intergenerational, vicarious, and repetitive trauma. We take the deep dive in the full day, and you walk away with 6 CEUs, CPDUs, and access to a community. The other thing is, I got the October retreat. If everybody can hear the sound of my voice, I need all hands on deck, because I want what we do now is to lead up to having a gathering of all of us together. Yes, it come at a price tag. Yes, I will be raising funds. Yes, I want you to buy Dr. Tiffany, you already got I think you and another person from District 205 already got their tickets. Early bird is happening right now. I honestly want to say too, like, if money is, I did everything I could to make sure that the money, the math was math, and because I can't walk away with a bill for the Tinley Park Convention Center. If you ever been to the retreat, you already know how we rock and roll. It's huge. Vanessa and my little baby, y'all was, finna say Dr. Harris, Teresa, Tamika, y'all part of the board. Iris, you already know how, Ticey, you already know how we roll.
We'll be back.
I need everyone in the building, because we also, if you're not aware, we're in a literacy crisis. So I'm partnering with Burst Into Books. And so what she's going to do, I'm giving her, we will have a therapeutic space. So if anybody at any point in time, proactively or reactively, are triggered and by anything that's being said, you will have free access to mental health services the day of the retreat. And if you need ongoing services, I will personally make sure you have what you need, and make sure money is not a barrier. Yes, Dominique, I hear you. Yes, so Jarima Gorham and I are going to join forces, and what she's going to do from a literacy perspective, every hour on an hour of the retreat outside of lunch, they're going to be reading age-appropriate books that will be read to the children by age or by grade, and then you also be able to purchase books as well, and then be able to follow up for a reading our own version of Book It. I don't know if anybody remember Book It, the Pizza Hut. That's probably why I started gaining weight. I was reading them books, not like I need my little personal pan pizza. Anyway, but I'm also partnered with Her Scan. I don't know if you ever heard of Her Scan, where they're going to be doing mammograms on site. We're going to have men's mental health, like the whole family. I'm working on getting a kitty corner. I'll be working with, I don't know if Iris knows this yet, but I'm saying it now, along with I keep saying Dr. Harris, Teresa, I don't know, but needless to say, I want to make sure we have a kitty corner that is ABA compliant, meaning that any child or any adult who is considered neurodivergent or have a learning ability that's not traditionalized, they will have their own corner or their time away from, because I know it can be overwhelming and overstimulating. I just got the contract for the Tinley Park Convention Center last week, and I looked at the price tag like, God is. If I don't know anything else, God is. So it's done. It's already done. And we just go on higher. I'm partnering with Wellness Vitality. She's going to be doing demonstrations of juicing based on if you have high blood pressure. This is how you make a juice for high blood pressure to reverse your numbers. If you are dealing whatever that look like, she's going to be doing demonstrations the entire day. When I tell you God gave it to me and I can't sleep time, I got to do it. Regina, you already know what time it is, how we roll. So that's what I got. I will be working with Dominique to make sure we have all the nooks and crannies together. I want to make sure that we meet in person at least within the next 2 weeks. And Dr. Dominique has offered space at her space in Calumet City. Am I right, Dominique? I think I'm right. And then also we have space at Chicago Integrated Health and Matson. So and then also thinking about programming, I've been working with some things behind the scene for summer programming and even having a sliding scale fee, and we'll run it through Project Thrive, Teresa. Once I could solidify with Taylor what that looked like, be able to have programming in the summer. Adina has a lot happening in the Park Forest area. In my mind, when I think of parks and recreation, the first person coming to mind is Adina. And if any village, township need to have an idea of how to model what parks and recreation could possibly look like in your community, I would say you need to talk to Adina. With that being said, I know some people had to leave, but we got Isaiah, Adina, Regina, Dr. Tiffany, Vanessa, Teresa, Tamika, Kiki, Dominique, Dr. Jonathan, Dr. LaShawn, D Bell, Ticey Bell. Please make sure you connect at least with one person, if not all of us. Of course, you have everyone information, but there's certain people that you feel the synergy, make it happen. With that being said, I think we're pretty much done for the night, but I want everyone, if we could go one by one, Isaiah, Adina, Regina, I'm gonna just call you all name as I see you. Isaiah, Adina, Regina, one word as you leave, as we leave this space tonight. And Regina, if you don't mind, if you can close us out in prayer before we part ways this evening. Isaiah, the floor is yours. One word.
Great.
Adina.
Hopeful.
Regina.
You took my word. Hopeful.
Tamika.
Definitely hopeful.
Teresa.
Change agents.
Hi.
Yes. Vanessa.
I ain't got nothing right now, but I'm not gonna say hopeful. This has given me a new light because I got a little baby. I want to give her different space in life than what I've grown up with. So I'm right where I need to be right now.
Sound like legacy, light and legacy to me.
You already knew, baby, and I'm set her up right.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Vanessa. Dr. Tiffany.
Well,
Kiki.
Unity.
Unity. Let's see. Dominique, empowered. She put hers in the chat. Dr. Jonathan. Got you, Doc. Ticey.
I think you said it, synergy.
Dr. LaShawn.
Collaborative.
Yes, yes. D Bell. I see you like on and off mute.
Yeah, every time anyway, hopeful.
Hopeful, got you. Dr. LaShawn, do me a huge favor. You didn't get a chance to introduce yourself, and even though majority of the network has left, I still want to make sure that you have an opportunity to introduce yourself for those who are still here.
Thank you, sis. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry. I was at a fun day at my kids' school. So I was listening and working at the same time. My name is Dr. LaShawn Latrice. I am a community psychologist and a social justice advocate. I'm a mom of 7 and a grandmama of how many? I don't know, too many. And I am here because I love to work in collaborative spaces. I believe that we can make a bigger impact when we unite. And I am just so inspired and encouraged by just listening to the group. And I'm looking forward to meeting those who I don't know. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Dr. Shanika, for being a visionary.
Always, sis. Thank you. With that being said, where my girl at? There, Regina, can you pray us out, and then we'll part ways till the next time, and know that I love you all.
Amen. Father God, in the name of Jesus, first of all, we come before you humbly as we know how, God, because we know that you're the great creator, Father God. We thank you for creating this space and this time for such a time as this. So, God, let all of us who have gathered together here, who have been chosen and hand selected, Father God, put together the force that you want to see in this earth right now, God, and let us be impactful as we move forward. Let us do all that we know how, giving our all. And as we give all, Father God, pour into us and bless us, restore us, heal us, that we may be the change agents we need to be in the earth today. Bless each and every home that's here. Bless each and every person, Father God. Bless them with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Bless them with anything that they may stand in need of right now. And God, we're going to thank you in advance because we know who you are. As Dr. Shaniqua says, God is in your you're unlimited, you're infinity, you have no end, and we thank you for being the resourceful being that you are, and we look forward, God, to serving you, that we may be the servants to your children and your people everywhere, in Jesus' name. And until we meet again, be with each and every one of us, cover us under your blood, keep us safe and protected from every hurt, harm, danger, seen and unseen. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen.
I love you all. If you got questions,
Love
concerns,
everybody.
inquiries, I think
Love
Love
every
you.
y'all.
person here has my phone number, my personal phone number. Hit me up. Just know my phone going to do not disturb at 9:30 p.m. every night. But other than that, uh, Kiki, I know I got to follow up with you. You know it's all love. I hope you know it's all love.
Yeah, we catch up.
If anyone needs me, I'm here. And until the next time, you'll hear by this time tomorrow, you'll have more communication via email or text from me.
Sounds great.
Sounds
Are
good.
we
Good
going to
night,
get the names
everybody.
and number of everybody who was on here?
Everybody. Yes, ma'am.
Cool.
I
All
got you.
right.
All right, everyone.
All right. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.